Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday night. Normally on Wednesday with the company that we belong to, because there might be some other people here from another company. That's perfectly fine. This was an open invitation for everybody. But normally on these Wednesday nights, we'll have what we call a Welcome Wednesday, or not a Welcome Wednesday, but a Wellness Wednesday on health and wellness products. And we also have How to Build Your Business Wednesday. Today's a little different. Today's going to be about mindset. And I'm going to do this because today's January the 8th. And I've spent some time putting some stuff together on mindset going into 2025. It's a little bit different. There's always people talking about things you must do about 2025 and how you should do them and things of that nature. We understand all of those things, right? I spent time writing this, and I spent quite a bit of time writing this. So I'm going to ask you just kind of sit back and relax and kind of kill your exterior. I know there's a lot of things going on right now on television and things of that nature, but just give me 45 minutes of your undivided time because I really believe that if you soak this in and you understand what I'm saying, if you just get one thing that helps you in 2025, that means I did a good thing. And that's what I want to do. I want to do a good thing. So get your pen, get your paper, get ready, and we are going to get started. For those of you that don't know me, if this is the first time you've been on here, my name is Ron. I reside in Houston, Texas, and I've been involved in this wonderful world of network marketing for 35 years, and I love it. So let's get started. So what we're going to do now, how am I going to start it? Here we are absolutely in the position where we're going into 2025. And what we do now is going to absolutely determine where we're going to go, what we're going to do in 2025 as we stand on the edge of a new year. I know it's the 9th, but we're still standing on the edge of a new year. And every time a new year comes around, there's always a certain energy that's in the air. It's a certain kind of energy because everybody feels anew. It's like, okay, I get to start over. There's 12 more chapters of my life, and it started now, and I get to redo everything. That's kind of like how we feel. For me, it's like I'm standing on a bridge. I'm in the middle of a bridge, and I'm looking back at everything that I've experienced and everything I've accomplished. And while I'm looking this way and I'm catching a glimpse of what lies ahead. Same as you might be on that bridge going, this is what I did. I love what I did. This is where I'm going on that bridge. It's just a natural time for all of us to reflect and to reset. We get to reset for the 12 chapters coming up and to set the stage for a better year to come, which is 2025. But with all that said, here's the key that's super important. Reflection, looking back, it's not enough. It's not enough. And I'm going to tell you, when you look forward, hope is not a strategy. It's not. And wishful thinking, it's not going to change the trajectory of your life. It's not going to do it. What you have to do, and what a lot of people they intend to do when the new year starts, is you have to take this thing called deliberate action. You have to take action for the trajectory of your life to change if you want that to happen. And what happens is most people, they enter a brand new year. I do it too. Come on. When I'm saying this, I'm listening to myself. Most people enter a new year and they have this thing called a list of resolutions, whether it's one or two or three, doesn't matter. And normally what happens is that list of resolutions, it doesn't even survive past January. It just doesn't. And why is that? I seem to think the reason that is because what we do, or what I do, is when I don't make resolutions anymore, because I felt like when I was making resolutions, I was focusing on the surface rather than the root of what I wanted to do. And that's why it was so easy to give up, and it was so easy just to put it away. So I'll give you an analogy how I look at it. You see, you can't go into your home and pick a room and just paint over the old walls and expect the room to look brand new. I mean, it will to a certain extent, but it's not. No, you got to go in the room. You got to clean up everything. You got to tape everything. Then you got to go there and you got to patch up any cracks that's in the wall. Then you got to fill all the screw holes when you take the stuff out of the wall, when you're hanging pictures or whatever. Then you got to retexture some places where it looks the same as the rest of your wall. And then and only then you apply fresh paint. So you got to prepare it all the way so it's new. So, in other words, if you want your 2025 to be different, you got to prepare differently than what you've done. So, what you do right now in these first weeks of the new year, it can literally have a profound impact of how the year is going to be for you. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. And right now, since it's so early, since it's the 9th of January, it's about creating that momentum that carries you forward, not just into 2025, but what's going to go well beyond it, well beyond 2025. The momentum and everything you do now is not going to just show up at the end of 2025, but it'll carry through. So I believe for me, and I hope for you, there are some essential things that you must do. And I'm going to go ahead and say right now, starting the new year. And they're not just actions. A lot of people talk about actions you have to do to start. They're not just actions. For me, they're principles, and they're absolutely the groundwork for success, progress, and fulfillment. This is what we're talking about, and they're as practical as they are powerful. They're very practical, but you have to understand something. When you're looking at 2025, you have to understand the magic isn't in the calendar turning old. That's not the magic at all. It's just another day. The calendar turned over. So what? The magic is in you. That's what the magic is. It's all in you. But that magic doesn't happen by accident, and it never will. It only happens through intention. Your intention. It happens when you stop coasting along. And I'm not saying you're coasting, not what I mean, but I'm just saying it's just a word that I'm using. It happens when you stop coasting along and you start choosing deliberately how you want your life to unfold. You have to deliberately be aware and make the choice of actually how you want it to unfold. Then you have to take action to do it. Because when that clock struck midnight on December the 31st, 2025, it started. The clock struck midnight and in 2025 it started. And there's steps that you can take to make sure you're not just reacting to that, but you're not just reacting to that life, but you're going to create it. You're going to create what you want. Because if you have your pen and paper, please write this down, what I'm about to tell you. Please write it down. Progress is more important than perfection. Progress is more important than perfection. See, the goal is to position yourself early in 2025. So now that the new year has already started and your mindset is ready to get ahead of the curve, you're ready. You got this new feeling. It's a new year. You're absolutely ready. You just feel it inside. You're ready to get ahead of that curve, and you're ready to go in motion with a clear sense of direction and a solid foundation underneath you. Sounds easy, right? All that sounds easy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through all these, what I call essential actions. And what I want you to do is I want you to think about them deeply. They're not just concepts. I'm not going to sit here and just talk about a bunch of concepts. Not what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through essential actions, but I want you to think about them deeply as commitments. When I say commitments, I'm talking about a commitment to yourself, to your own growth in 2025. So I'm not asking you to commit to anything else other than yourself. That's it. That's it. And I want you to think about where you are this time next year. And if you want this year to be extraordinary, it's going to start with some choices that you're going to make today. Okay. And the first thing you must do is you have to sit down with yourself and you have to conduct this thing that I call an honest review of your life. An honest review of your life. Now, this is not going to be some casual glance that you're going to take a look at yourself. That's not what I'm talking about. Not a quick reflection, but what I'm talking about is a deep, deliberate examination of where you stand right now. Right now. I mean, really look at yourself deeply. Whatever age you are you exactly where you want to be? I'm not. I can always do better. There's always parts in my life that I can make better, no matter what it is. No matter what it is. That honest review that you take of yourself is going to help you tremendously. Because here's what I'm going to tell you. You cannot move forward effectively. You just can't do it if you don't know where you are. You just can't move forward if you don't know where you are. You can't do it. So when you take this honest review, I want you to think of this like a map, okay? Because if you're lost anywhere today, if you get lost anywhere, the first thing you need to do is what? Figure out your current location. That's the first thing you have to do. You got to figure out where you're at. And only then can you figure out where you want to go. If you're lost, that's the procedure that you have to go through. This is no different. This review of your life that I'm talking about, it isn't about judgment. You're not judging yourself, okay? It's about awareness. It's all about awareness. It's about taking a step back and asking yourself some really tough questions, some really tough ones. You know, what worked well for me last year? What didn't work well for me last year? Where did you grow? Where did you fall short? How did you spend your time? What habits worked for you? What habits did not work for you? So your goal in this review is to identify patterns, positive patterns and negative patterns, because we all have them. So you can focus on what's working and you can address what's not. That's what the review's for. So let's go ahead and go with the first one. The first thing I want to talk about is, and it's not long because I don't like to talk about this with people much. You already know where you're at on this. But you got to look at your spending. You got to look at your savings. You got to look at your earnings. You got to look at your finances. That's the thing. That's where I'm going to start. People don't like to talk about finances because, well, that's my business. And it is your business, 100%. But when you look at your finances, there's some simple questions. Did you stick to a budget or did you find yourself overspending? Yes. Are you making progress towards your financial independence? I hope so. But can I do better? Absolutely. Are you still kind of treading water with your finances? See, this subject called finances is the one that most people don't want to talk about because numbers get very intimidating for most people. Okay. But all I'm going to say about finances is one more thing, and we're going to move on because I don't like to talk about that much. Avoiding the truth is not going to change it for you. You have to face it head on. It's the only way to improve your finances. Okay. So we're done with finances. That was finances. The next one I like to talk about. Examine your relationships. Examine your relationship. Okay, I'm going to slow down a little bit. I don't know if I can go much slower because I want everything to be clear for you. Think about the people in your life. Are your relationships stronger, deeper, more meaningful than they were a year ago? Or Have you let them drift? See, relationships are the foundation of fulfilling life. They are. Relationships are one of the most important things you'll ever have to have a fulfilling life. But they require effort. They absolutely require effort. So, have you been giving your relationships the time, the effort that they deserve? I haven't. I'm being honest. I haven't. I can always do better. Or have you been taking them for granted? I've been guilty of that. And here's a tough one. Are there relationships that you need to let go because they're no longer healthy? Think about that one for a minute. Do you have relationships going on in your life that you need to let go because they're no longer healthy? Or they're not aligned with your growth? See, that's the thing. You can't let negative relationships use up all your time and all your energy. You just can't. Time is actually the most precious resource you'll ever have. And how you spend it, or however you spend it last year, is worth examining. It's worth taking a look at. Your relationships, how you spent it last year. Look at the activities that filled your days. Go back and look at how your days were in 2024. Were they aligned with your goals? Did your days align exactly with your goals, or were they just distractions? Did you invest your time in things that move you closer to your vision or your dreams, or were you just caught up in busyness that had no real progress? Think about that. Remember, the way you spend your time shapes your results in your life. And don't forget your environment. Don't forget that one. See, your surroundings play a very significant role in your success. Your surroundings around you. What do the spaces look like where you spend your time? What does your home look like? What does your office look like? Even the people that you interact with. Are these environments, are people, are they supporters of your goals? Or are they holding you back? Are they holding you back? See, a cluttered space leads to one thing: a cluttered mind. There's no getting around that. There's not. But on the other hand, a space that's clean and it's organized and it's inspiring, whatever makes you feel that way, that it's clean, you don't have to be spick and span. That's what I'm talking about. It gives you the energy and it gives you the focus that you need to thrive and go forward. These are things, if you know this is happening in your life, address them. And finally, you need to evaluate your sense of purpose. Your purpose. Do you feel like you're on a path that aligns with your values? Do you feel like you're on a path that aligns with your vision? Have you been going through the motions, doing what's expected without a clear sense of direction? Think about that one, because I have. I mean, your purpose and your vision, it's not something you just find. Your purpose and your vision, it's something that you cultivate. It's something you build over time. Think back on how you spent your time and your energy all last year. All last year. Did it reflect on what truly matters to you? As you go through the process of this review that I'm talking about, write everything down. Don't keep it here, write it down. Because there's something very powerful about seeing your thoughts on paper. And also, when you write it down, your thoughts become reality because you're thinking about it while you're writing it down. What it does for you is this: it forces clarity. And it also creates a record that you can always go back to if you just keep what you wrote down. Don't rush it. If you sit down to write this down, don't rush it. Take the time that you need to dig deep and uncover the truths that's going to guide you to your next steps. This is highly important because the goal of this review of writing this down on your past days in 24 and was your days built by moving in your direction, you're not doing this to dwell on the past. That's not what you're doing. But you're actually doing it to do one thing, to learn from it. You got to look closely at the lessons from your experience from both things, from your wins and your losses. Both of them. You got to look at both of them. What did you learn from the experience of wins and losses? Because every mistake you made, every setback you faced, it carries a lesson. They all carry lessons. And if you're willing to look for it, you'll find it. You'll find that lesson. But if you're just cruising through life and you never stop long enough to think about this and write it down, you never get those lessons. Never. And then as you're going through this review, every success, no matter how small, when you find successes, I don't care how small they are, how big they are, they literally hold clues of what you're actually capable of doing when you're at your best. Think about that. All your successes, you were at your best. All of those things had clues inside of them that goes, I was at my best. And once you've completed your review, just take a moment and just acknowledge your progress, because that's progress. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small they might seem. It doesn't matter. You got to celebrate them and recognize when you're doing this, recognize the effort that you're putting in. Even if the results weren't exactly what you hoped for. If you end up with more negative stuff than positive, it's okay. Just recognize you're putting the effort in. And you gotta be happy about that. Because doing this exercise, it's not about beating yourself up. It's not. It's about getting honest with yourself so you can move forward with clarity and purpose. Because that's the only way you do this. You got to have clarity, because the review of yourself that I'm talking about right now for 2024, so you can move forward in 25, all it is, it's the foundation for everything else you're going to do. And without sitting down doing this, you're just guessing. You're just guessing. And you're not building on solid ground. Anytime somebody goes to build a business plan or whatever, do they just keep it filed in their head and go off of that? No, they put a complete business plan together, whether it's handwritten, whether it's typed, or whatever it is written down for record, because you can always go back to that record and go, oh, wait a minute, it's like a blueprint. Got to do this next. This was good. This was no good. It's a record. It's a blueprint. So you got to take the time to do it right. Here's why. The clearer you are about where you stand, you'll absolutely be able to create the future that you want. But you've got to be clear. You have to be clear where you stand right now, where you came from, where you're going. And you got to do some exercises to figure that out. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is how, creating a detailed plan to do this. These two things: eliminate your distractions and your obstacles. We all have them. We all have them. You've got to do a detailed plan to cut those things out. See, success isn't only about what you do, it's also about what you stop doing. You thought I was going to say what you don't do. No, it's about what you stop doing. It's about clearing the path so you can focus on what truly matters. You got to clean this stuff up. All this stuff around you, all the noise, the white, you got to clean it out, because that's the only thing that's going to let you focus on what truly matters. And think of it like this. Think like this. It's like if I go out in the front and not me, but I get someone to prune my tree, my oak tree in the front. They cut the limbs off on the bottom. They kind of cleaned it up. It looks real nice. And why do we do that? We remove the unnecessary branches on the tree so it can do what? grow stronger, grow healthier, be more productive. Your life is the same way. It's the same way. You got to clear this stuff out. It's about clearing your path so you can focus on what's truly going to matter to you. The same principle, like that tree, applies to your life. The same principle. If you want this year of 2025 to be your best, you need to identify and you need to eliminate the things that are holding you back. You can't identify them unless you do these exercises. And when you write them down, they become real. So, like your distractions, you need to identify your distractions first. So, what is it that's consuming your time? What people? What habits? What is it that's really consuming your time? And then ask yourself, when you realize what's consuming your time, is it adding any value to your life? Whatever it is that's consuming your time, is it adding any value to your life? This is where you have to be brutally honest with yourself. See, whatever you discovered through that review, through that exercise, again, I'm going to tell you, write it down. When you write it down, you acknowledge what your distractions are. And that's really the first step to overcoming your distractions. You have to acknowledge it. And when you acknowledge it by writing it down, you just seem to not forget it. That's normally what happens. So the next step is, once you've identified your distractions, is now you have to do this thing called set boundaries. You got to setting boundaries is going to help you protect what? It's going to help you protect your time, your energy, and your focus by setting boundaries. Now, understand something. Boundaries, when I say setting boundaries, I don't mean shutting people out of your life. That's not what I mean. It's about being very intentional with the resources that you have. Okay? So if you find yourself saying yes to things that you really don't want to say yes to, and we all do it because we want to be nice, I'm not saying be mean, but like you feel guilty or you feel like you're obligated to say yes, right? Folks, you got to learn how to say no. And you got to say no with confidence. All right? And a lot of us think, well, Ron, I don't want to do that. That's being mean. I don't want to be mean to anybody. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. And I'll say it twice if you want to write it down. Understand this. When you say no to things that don't serve you, you're really saying yes to your goals, your priorities, and your future. Now it don't seem like you're being mean anymore, does it? When you say no to things that do not serve you, that takes your time, you're really saying yes to your goals, your priorities, and your future. Remember that. Okay? And here's a form of distraction that everyone has. You ready? We're going to cover this again. We kind of covered it once. Let me get rid of this phone here. Hold on. We covered it once. I'm going to cover it a little bit more. But it's a different form of it, so you'll understand. So a form of distraction that everyone has, as we said before, it's called clutter. But I'm not talking about clutter that's in your physical life, what I was talking about before. I was talking about your surroundings when it comes to clutter. What I'm talking about now is the mental clutter. And everyone has it. Everyone. Again, look around your environment. Where are you at every day? Is it organized? Is it total chaos? Or somewhere in between? When you look at your environment, I want you to see through your eyes, like you're looking at your mind. Because more often than not, that cluttered space leads to that cluttered mentality. And just remember, being cluttered, it makes it very hard to focus, and it makes it really hard to stay productive. And some of that clutter can come from exactly what I'm talking about. When you find yourself going, yeah, I'll do that for you, or yes, I'll do that, and it's not really serving your purpose. It's not serving your vision. But you're saying yes because your emotional feelings is telling you to say that, and you're really cutting out your own vision, your own future. So it's best to simplify those things. Make it easy to keep your goals instead of competing with them. Because what you'll find is when you're doing those kind of things, you're literally competing with yourself because you're not doing what you need to do to move forward that you wanted your 2025 to be. See, mental clutter, it can be just as disruptive as the physical clutter. They're kind of one and the same, okay? But specifically, mental clutter, negative self-talk, unproductive worries, things that you can't control but you worry about. Self-conflicts take up valuable mental real estate. They take up room that you need to get your vision and your dreams where they need to be. You got to learn how to reflect on the thoughts and the actions that might be holding you back. You got to think about them. You got to figure out how to solve those issues. You do. Kind of like this. Do you have the fears of? Do you have the limited beliefs that challenge you? Of course you do. We all do. We all have those things. Do you need to confront them? I would say yeah. See, you have to start replacing negativity with constructive thinking. And when you do, it's going to be like clearing the fog in your mind. I mean, you start getting that clarity that I keep talking about. You start getting that clear path. But most importantly, you begin to matter. You do. You start to matter. Your vision starts to matter. Your goal starts to matter. You're not being mean to anybody. You got to take care of you. Because as you probably know, no matter what you do, there's always going to be obstacles. That's just life. But when we talk about distractions, normally what we're talking about are the ones that are pretty much self-imposed. Would you agree? We make them happen. And again, this is the external challenges that get in the way. The people that take up our time, the things that take up our time, the things we allow to enter our thinking. It's the external challenges that we let happen. That's exactly what happens. So for every obstacle that feels like it's stopping you, again, there is a potential solution. But that solution is up to you because you have to be willing to look for it. You have to recognize it and go, oh, hold on. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing. You have to be willing to find that potential solution, meaning you don't have to say no all the time, but you don't have to say yes all the time either. You can always say, no, not today. We'll figure it out some other time. But what's most important is you. And what's most important is exactly where you're going in 2025. Because remember, it's not only 2025. If you get this right, it goes into 26, 27, 28, right? It's just the way it works. So this might help you. You have to start breaking down your obstacles into smaller, manageable pieces. Smaller, manageable pieces. So if you find yourself, just like I have been, if you find yourself continually saying, I don't have time, can't do that, don't have time, wait a minute, I don't have time. If you find yourself saying that, you probably need to start finding out exactly how you're currently spending your time. That's what I would say. Because if you don't have time for nothing, you don't have time for your own vision. You don't have time for your own future. If you're saying, I don't have time, I'm doing this, you need to figure out where you're spending your time. You do. If your obstacle is financial, just identify different ways to cut your costs. Just prioritize spending where it's in alignment with your goals, your vision. And then more than that, just start doing the things you have to do to make an additional income. That's it. Do the things you have to do to make that extra money. And what's the most effective ways to get rid of distractions and obstacles? You ready? It's create a system. System or routines are their processes, and they're tools that makes our life easier, and it helps you stay on track. Systems remove the need for you to do what? Make constant decisions. You don't have to do that with systems, which that's going to allow you to operate more efficiently. If you don't have to make constant decisions, you just operate more efficiently. And look, I'm not talking about funnel systems, nothing like that. That's not what I'm talking about. Accountability is a powerful tool. It's a system. Share your plan to eliminate distractions and overcome obstacles with someone that you trust. Accountability. See, ask them to hold you accountable and be open to their feedback. If you ask somebody to hold you accountable about your actions and things you're going to be doing to eliminate distractions and overcome your obstacles, you have to be ready for their feedback. Because if somebody tries to give you honest feedback, you go, oh, they're not going to give it to you anymore. They're just not. If you ask for it, be prepared. Sometimes another perspective could be someone else looking at what you're doing because you ask for their feedback and you want them to hold you accountable. It is very possible that they can see blind spots in your plan that you might have missed. You might have missed it, but they can see it. You can't see it because you're in it. And just knowing that someone else is watching your progress, it can actually motivate you to stay disciplined because you know someone's holding me accountable, so I have to stay disciplined. I have someone that I'm answering to right now. Finally, remember that eliminating distractions and obstacles, it's not a one-time task, folks. It's an ongoing process. Life is always going to throw new challenges and new temptations at you. It's so important to regularly assess and adjust your approach. It's just maintenance. It's just like when you clean your house or you service your car. I mean, you have to periodically clean up your priorities and clean up your habits and clean up your environment. Just so you know, clearing the way for your success, it is the absolute most liberating thing you'll ever do. It really is, when you just clear it out. See, when you remove the distractions and you remove the obstacles that's been holding you back, you create space for focus, creativity, achievements. They start happening. What you're doing is you're just reclaiming your time and you're reclaiming your energy and you direct them to what truly matters, which is your future. That's all you're doing. So you got to take the time now. You got to clear the clutter. You got to prepare the path. Because the more clear your path is, the faster and the farther you will go. Okay? Now, here's the thing that you must do 100% you must do. You have to make your habits fit your success in 2025. You can write that down if you want to. Your habits have to fit your success in 2025. Here's what I mean. Your own personal habits, they are truly the architecture of your life. They dictate your behavior, they shape your outcomes, and ultimately, they determine your future. Your habits do this. You show me a person with very bad habits, and I'll show you a person not setting themselves up for a great future. Absolutely. 100%. Never fails. On the other hand, you show me a person with great habits, taking care of their family, watching their weight, eating healthy, going to the gym, taking walks every day, doing the things they should be doing to thrive, they're setting themselves up for a great future because they're great habits. They are. You got to look at your habits. If you want this year to be different, you cannot rely on willpower alone. It's not enough. It's not enough. You need habits, good habits. Your habits have to align with your goals and move you in the direction that you want to go, not in the direction somebody else wants you to go. Let me say that again. When you have your habits, you got to have good habits. Good habits. And they have to move you in the direction that you want to go, not in the direction someone else wants you to go. Okay? So just take a moment, reflect on your current habits right now, today, tomorrow, before you step into 2025 and start moving. Because your habits are one of the most important things you'll ever get straight. I mean, ask yourself this question. What are the routines? What are the rituals? What are your behaviors that makes up your day? What are you doing? Every single day, what are you doing? Let me just go out on a limb here and let me say, if you're spending your time when you get home from work in front of a television, or if you're retired and you don't do anything, you just kind of hang out and you watch television all the time, that's not helping you. If you want to do that, more power to you. But if that's what you did in 24 and that's what you did in 25, nothing's changing for you. But that, if you're wanting a change, that's not helping you. So again, are your habits serving you? Are they holding you back? Because there's no in between. There's not. It's black or white with me. Here's the cold, hard truth for you. Every habit you have is either a step towards your goals or it's a step away from them. There's no in between. Your habits are going towards your goals or they're moving you away from your goals. There's no neutral ground. None. So if you're not intentionally building good habits, you're unintentionally reinforcing bad ones. Just the way it works. I don't make the rules. I just know how they are. See, the very first step in building better habits is this: awareness. Simple. You have to identify the habits that's been helping you and identify the habits that's been hurting you, because they're there. So here's some hard truths. Do you continually put things off? Do you have a habit of always saying, well, I'll start tomorrow? Am I putting off those calls every day that I need to be doing to build my business? Am I going live every day on TikTok if that's what you do? Are you making those faceless videos every single day like you said you would? Am I showing up to the webinar so I can get educated on how to build the business that I belong in? Am I truly getting the education of what I need to know, how to build my business? Or are you letting everyone else take up your time? And it doesn't leave you enough time to do what you told yourself you were going to do for your future, your commitments. These bad habits, they got to go because they're not serving you. They got to go. If you want to change, that's got to go. On the other hand, do you have a habit of always following through on your commitments? Even when it's hard, when it's difficult. If you have that habit, good Lord, that's a habit you got to keep. And that's one you got to strengthen. You got to make it even better. Work on it. Get it even better than what it is. See, once you've identified your habits by writing them down, you got to write all this stuff down. The next step is to focus on one or two that's going to give you high impact changes. Because I'm going to tell you, if you go into this thing and you try to overhaul your whole life at one time, that's a recipe for disaster. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You got to focus on just a couple of things at a time. See, it's truly overwhelming, and it often leads to burnout if you try to do them all at one time. It's just not going to work. It never has worked. Instead, just pick a small number of habits that's going to make the biggest difference in your life. Just a couple. Think of them as keystone habits, the ones that create that ripple effect of positive change in your life. For most of you, I can tell you what that is already. It's one word: consistency. There is a habit you can start with: consistency. Being consistent every day in doing what you said you were going to do. Every single day. Consistent. That'll change your life. That one habit. So if you want to improve your productivity, starting each day, do this. Grab a piece of paper, grab a pen each day while you're drinking your coffee or whatever it is. Write down your top 3 priorities for that day. Whatever they are, however small they are, I'm going to go for a walk today. I'm going to read 30 minutes in a book today. I'm going to make 2 phone calls today. Okay, write them down. Do those things that day. That one thing of getting up and writing 3 small things, and they'll get bigger and bigger, that can help you on how to organize your time, how you approach your task, and how much you can accomplish. You start going, well, I can do more than that. 3 things turn into 5 things, 5 things turn into 10 things. And before you know it, you're knocking them out. But you got to start. You got to start small. Because if you try to start big, you're going to blow yourself out. Or look, if it's your relationships you want to start working on, just set aside some time each week to connect with someone you care about. See, it's not about doing everything at one time. It just can't be, because you'll never get it done. It's about choosing the right things to focus on that lead you in your direction of your vision and your dreams. That's all it is. When you've made the changes and you're building a new habit, start small. The fastest step to failure that most people make is trying to do too much too soon. That's it. That's what happens. Because I'm joining a gym. It's January. I'm going to join a gym. And you go down to the gym and you join the gym and you get on the weights and you do so much the next day you can't move. You can't move for a week. And you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that again. When you should have just did a little bit. 10 minutes, go home. Come back tomorrow. 10 minutes, go home. Little at a time. Too much too soon will just blow you completely out. That's what happens. You decide you're going to get on a diet. What do? If you change your diet all of a sudden, you never make it. It's too much. It's a little at a time. And then when it gets hard, what happens? You slip up. You slip up and you give up altogether. This is the same with this. It's no different. But the truth, here's the truth. We'll say it again. I said it once, I'm going to say it again. Consistency matters more than intensity. You got to be consistent in whatever it is you're trying to do when it comes to your habits. It's better to do a small, manageable action consistently than to go big for a few days and then quit. That's what most people do. You get excited about something. Oh, this is the greatest thing. And you go big, and all of a sudden you don't get the immediate microwave society reaction that you want. Oh, here's another thing. Let me do this one now. That's what happens. It's just like this. When you plant a plant or you plant something, at first, the changes, they seem very small. Matter of fact, it's almost insignificant because you keep looking going, well, are you going to grow or what are you going to do? That's what it is. But over time, it grows into something powerful. It just takes time. It's a little bit at a time. It's the principle of compounding time. That principle applies just as much to your actions as it does to your finances. It's the same. Compounding time, compounding interest, just a little bit at a time turns into something big. But consistency is what you have to make that work. The small positive habits that you apply today and every day will build over time, which in turn is going to lead you to massive results in your future. It will. One of the very best ways to solidify a habit is take that new habit that you want to get going and attach it to something that you already do. If you want to start journaling, attach it to after you brush your teeth in the morning or something. You brush your teeth, you said, no, I got to journal. I just brushed my teeth. Attach it to something that a habit you already do. If you want to start reading, or if you want to start filling your mind with personal development, do it right before you go to bed, or do it the first thing when you wake up and drink coffee. Attach it to something you already do. Then you don't feel like, I've got to make time for this in my life. No, you don't. Just attach it to what you already do every day. Okay? Then it becomes a habit. You see, when you do this, you're just linking a new habit to an existing one. So it triggers you to take action. And then when you're doing this, track your progress. You want to track your progress because it's incredible when you're tracking your streak of consistency to grow. You're going, oh my God, I'm doing it. So find a way to measure your efforts. Normally, again, it's writing them down. Normally, tracking your progress not only holds you accountable, but it gives you a sense of accomplishment. And as you see the evidence of your hard work, here's something really important. Don't forget to reward yourself along the way. Positive reinforcement, it's a very powerful, powerful motivator. So when you hit a milestone, like went 5 days and you read 30 minutes a day in a book, that's a milestone. It's your goal to celebrate your progress. It doesn't have to be anything big. It's just a reminder that your efforts, they're paying off. You're doing it. Now, here's a very important point for you. While you're doing this, you better expect setbacks. Because building new habits, it's not a straight path. It's not. There's going to be days when you slip up. Life's going to get in the way, or when your motivation is just not there, you know? And that's perfectly normal. But the key is, don't let the setback become a stopping point for you. Don't let that happen. One missed day does not undo your progress. You got to know that. What matters is getting back on track as fast as possible. And finally, you need to surround yourself with support. Your environment is going to play a huge role in shaping your habits. So if you're trying to spend your day being motivated, spend time with people who inspire and encourage you, not people that don't do that. Habits are the building blocks of success. They're so important. They're the actions that you take consistently day in and day out. And in turn, when you do this, they truly create the life that you want to live. They just do. Big businesses become big businesses because they have other people doing the same habits that they've trained them to do every single day. Consistency, same habit. And businesses become big when that happens. See, by focusing on the right habits and then you commit to them, you're setting yourself up for long-term success. Because at the end of the day, it's not what you do occasionally that matters. It's what you do consistently. That's what matters. Here's the last one, folks. Last one. You got to craft a vision for your future. It's got to be inspiring, but more than that, it has to be actionable. See, a clear vision when you're thinking of your future, it gives you direction and it keeps you focused, even when it gets rough. If you can keep that vision, it's going to keep you going, even when it gets rough. If you don't have a vision and you can't see where you're wanting to go, you become at the mercy of what? Circumstances. You start reacting to whatever comes your way. Shiny object syndrome. Oh, this one don't work. This one, let's try this one. Oh, hold it. Let's try this one. Oh, wait, here comes another one. I got 14 different pumps and I don't have enough arms to run them, so I'm making nothing in any of them. That's what happens. You start reacting. But if you keep clarity with your vision, you gotta have clarity. You always have something to aim for. Something that's going to pull you forward with purpose and determination. That's your clarity. That's your vision. So start by asking yourself this question. Where do I want to be at the end of 2025? Write it down. Don't just think about the details on the surface. Go deeper than that. What kind of person do you want to become? What kind of life do you want? And what kind of life do you want for your family to live? You got to picture this in vivid detail. Vivid. You got to shut your eyes. If it's a 67 Chevelle, totally rebuilt, 396, 4-speed in your driveway you want at the end, you got to shut your eyes. You got to see yourself going through your garage, seeing it sitting in your garage. What does the air smell like? Can you smell the leather on the seats when you open the door? Do you see the white 4-speed shifter knob on that hearse? Do you see this? It's got to be vivid so you see it. Write down. Here's one for you. Here's a great exercise. Write down exactly what your ideal day looks like from the time you wake up till the time you go to bed. Your perfect day. Write it down. Who are you with? What are you doing? How do you feel? The more clear you get this in your mind, writing it down, every little aspect of that day, the more real it becomes. And now, the more motivated you're really gonna make this happen. You're more motivated. You can see it. You know who you're with. You know what store you're at. The skies are blue. You hear the birds. The air smells fresh. Are you walking on asphalt? You're walking on concrete. You got to get that deep. Remember, once you have a general vision, a general idea of your vision, you got to break that down into specific areas of your life. Think about your career. Think about your finances. Think about your relationships. Think about your personal growth and any other areas that matter to you. Remember this, it's okay for you to be selfish here. It's about you. It's about your vision. It's about your dream and who you're bringing with you on that ride. So now what you want, what do you want to achieve in each of those areas? That's what it's about. We know that when you get all this stuff going and you get your juices flowing and you're writing this stuff down, you're going to be ambitious. And that's normal. But you got to be realistic, meaning your vision should actually stretch you, but it shouldn't be impossible. It needs to excite you, but not overwhelm you. Because if it's impossible and it overwhelms you, you'll never get there. Remember, little pieces, little pieces. Now, we've all heard this before, but it's true. As you're putting your vision together, you got to focus on your why. Okay? Okay, here we go with this why thing again. Hold on a minute. Why do you need these goals and dreams? Why does it matter to you? Why does this thing you see in your head so vividly, why does that matter to you? See, it only means what's the deeper meaning behind all of this stuff? That's all it means. You're seeing this vision. What's the deeper meaning? Because we all know that 67 Chevelle is just a car. We know it. But what's the deeper meaning for you? What does it mean? It means it might have been something you've wanted all your life and you just want to have it one time. Because it makes you feel like you've accomplished something. That's the deeper meaning. It's the vision. It's rooted in your purpose. It's far more powerful than one that's just based on an external reward, money. That's just an external reward. And I know it's like oxygen. I know we all got to have it. But this is different. This is your vision, your future. See, I'm going to tell you, wanting to earn more money, that's great. But folks, it's never about the money. It never is. It's always about what the money's going to do for you. That's the reason behind that goal that gives you real power. If you want the 67 Chevelle, you're not going to get it without money. If you see your beautiful day with your wife, your spouse, your kids, your family, you're not going to get it without money. If you want a new house, you're not going to get it without money. The money is the catalyst that gets you to what you really are deeply wanting in your life. The stronger your why, the stronger your commitment, and the stronger your why is when you vividly see it in your mind's eye every single day. Manifestation, it really works. So the next exercise is think about the long term. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years? Your vision for this year, 2025, it has to align with your long-term vision. This entire exercise we've been talking about it's just about creating a plan for your life where each step builds on the last one. That's all this is. But you do it one small step at a time. That's it. But now that you've got a clear picture of your vision, you're going to have to write it down. Because if you don't write it down, it ain't going to stay. And when I say write it down, look, I don't mean just write down a few little quick notes in the margin of a notebook. No. Take the time to write it fully, like you're writing a story about your future. Be descriptive, be specific, use language that inspires you. You got to write down your vision descriptively, and you got to visualize it in your mind. It makes it feel more tangible. It's within your reach. Please understand, this is the key. Your vision isn't something just to dream about. It's something that you have to act on. See, this is where many people fail. They created this great vision, but then they failed to translate that vision into what? Action. Action. Consistent action every single day. And the only way you can avoid this is you have to identify the steps you need to take to bring your vision to life, and you got to do them consistently. So what action can you start taking today, this week, this month, to move closer to your ideal future? Again, break it down into small, manageable pieces, prioritize the most important steps, and another important aspect of vision building and visualization, take a few minutes each day, close your eyes, imagine yourself living out your vision. Find you a quiet place, close your eyes. This is all for you. You can be selfish. It's okay. You got to see it in your mind's eye as vivid as possible. Feel the emotions that are associated with that vision. Pride, joy, excitement, fulfillment. All those things fit in there. They're all in there. And I know what you're thinking. Ron, all this visualization stuff doesn't work. You got to understand, visualization is not just a feel-good exercise. It's not. It truly programs your mind to believe in the possibility of your vision. It does. Which in turn, what happens, that influences your thoughts, but most importantly, it influences your actions. And when you work towards your vision, remember this, it's not set in stone. Life is and always will be unpredictable. People in California will tell you that. And your priorities, they may change. They may. You have to be ready, and you have to be willing to adapt your vision as needed. But even if you have to adapt your vision and stay true to your core values for your future, your vision has to become a living document. What I mean by that is this. Sometimes that thing grows and it changes with you. That vision is a living document. Again, as before, share your vision with someone you trust. Speaking your dreams, speaking your vision out loud gives them power. And when somebody else knows about your vision, it creates a sense of accountability. But only share your vision with someone who will absolutely support you, encourage you, and hold you to your highest potential because they believe in you. Their belief in your vision can make it even stronger for you, especially on days when self-doubt creeps in. And it will. It will. See, crafting a vision for your future is one of those most empowering things you can ever do. It's not just about setting your goals and making plans. It's not. It's about finding out what your future means to you. But most importantly, it's you taking ownership of your life. And when you have a clear vision, clarity, you're no longer just reacting to the circumstances around you. You're creating the life that you want to live one step at a time. So it's 2025. It's time to take control of your life with exercises to promote your vision with clarity. One last thing I want to leave you with, folks. There's no magic buttons. To this day, I still have not seen the first person that started a business as an individual and put in place complete automation and hit it big. Now, I've seen established businesses use automation to grow an existing business, yes. But as a new business owner, it's going to take consistent action on your part to cultivate and build that business and build your vision and build your dreams. There's no magic button in your dreams. And along the way, you're going to learn what's best and what is best for the growth of your business and your dreams and your vision. And also, it means it's going to grow your vision of your future. Just remember your vision of your future, it does not include a magic button. If it does, it might not work out for you. It might not. So I want to say congratulations to each and every one of you. Welcome to 2025. Each and every one of you. Glad you're here. I'm happy to be on this roll with each and every one of you moving forward. And we're all going to hold each other accountable. And I hope this helps you on any decisions that you make moving forward. And I just realized I didn't hit the recording button, but it's okay. I'll do it again. I'll do it again.
You recording?
I'm not going to freak out about it. I'm not.
You recording? You recording?
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you hit it.
I don't see it lit up. Oh, I had to move the mouse around. See, everything's gone. That could have been something I could say, oh my God. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. So, folks, it is wide open. Let me hit, let me do this. Everybody should be able to, well, I don't know, can you? See if you can unmute yourself and speak. Anybody. If not, I'll have to fix it. Obviously, no. Okay. Let me try this. Let me unmute everyone. It's not letting me do it. That's crazy. That's wild. Okay, try it now.
I can unmute.
I know you can. I know you can.
I just want to say one thing that I do every day, and I say this to myself every day: the success of the success of my daily routines is hidden in the action that I do each and every day.
Mm-hmm.
We're unmuted now.
Yeah, you can unmute, Clyde. Unmute, Clyde.
He was.
I know. I don't know what happened.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, Clyde. Can you hear me?
Wait a minute. Yeah.
Okay, finish your story. Finish. I'm sorry, Clyde.
I was just saying the secret to my success is hidden in the activities of my daily routine. Yeah. And I write things down every day. I've been doing it for 11 years, every day. And something else you said, I can go back in my notes right now and I read stuff that I wrote 10 years ago. And it's a lesson to me because at the time I wrote it, I didn't need it. So there's a lot of things that you're going to write down that you're going to need years from now. Yeah. So that's why it's important to write down everything. I tell people every day, I read every day, I write